Welcome back to our channel, where we dive deep into the latest Hollywood drama, breaking news, and behind-the-scenes controversies. If you thought the legal battle surrounding Blake Lively and Justin Baldwin couldn't get any messier, think again. Just when it seemed like things might finally be settling down, yet another lawsuit has surfaced, pulling even more names into this already chaotic scandal. So, what's the latest twist in this never-ending courtroom saga? Let's break it all down. Blake Lively has once again found herself entangled in yet another lawsuit. At this point, it almost feels like a running joke because the entire situation has spiraled into complete chaos, with numerous legal battles involving Justin Baldwin and Blake Lively. Just when you might think things are finally beginning to settle down, guess what? Another lawsuit emerges, throwing everything into further turmoil. And, according to The Hollywood Reporter, things aren't looking great for Blake Lively this time around. The latest legal dispute involves a crisis management firm that Blake had explicitly mentioned in her previous complaint against Justin Baldwin. Jed Wallace, the owner of Street Relations, has now filed a federal lawsuit against Blake in Texas, seeking damages amounting to millions of dollars. In his lawsuit, Jed firmly denies any allegations of harassment or retaliation against Blake. He argues that he was unfairly dragged into the controversy when she named him in her complaint. Furthermore, he claims that the reputational damage he has suffered as a result of being implicated has cost him millions, which is why he is now pursuing legal action. If you're struggling to keep up with all the lawsuits, you're not alone. This marks the fifth lawsuit related to the scandal between Blake Lively and Justin Baldwin since December. To recap, Blake initially filed a federal lawsuit against Justin Baldwin in December. In response, Justin turned around and sued the New York Times and journalist Stephanie Jones for defamation. Stephanie, in turn, also filed a defamation lawsuit, this time against Justin Baldwin. If that weren't enough, in January, Justin escalated the situation further by suing Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and their PR manager, Les Sloan. And now, adding yet another layer to this never-ending legal saga, Jed Wallace is suing Blake Lively for mentioning him in her initial complaint against Justin. Jed Wallace's name appears in Blake's complaint in reference to accusations that Justin Baldwin hired a crisis management team to orchestrate an online smear campaign against her in an effort to protect his own reputation. The complaint alleges that, under the direction and approval of Wayfarer and Baldwin himself, the hired crisis team engaged in a well-coordinated and well-funded retaliatory scheme. This campaign wasn't just about PR managers and crisis firms fabricating stories. They allegedly went as far as hiring subcontractors, including a Texas-based contractor named Jed Wallace. According to the complaint, Jed was responsible for mobilizing a digital army spanning from New York to Los Angeles, strategically planting and promoting seemingly organic content across various social media platforms and online discussion forums. The complaint further alleges that Baldwin's team, Wayfarer, systematically distributed these carefully crafted narratives to journalists, thereby amplifying their reach and making them go viral. The ultimate goal? To sway public opinion and create an illusion of grassroots support that would shield Baldwin from the risk of Lively exposing the truth about him. Additionally, the complaint asserts that Baldwin's PR team deliberately manipulated online conversations to discredit Lively while simultaneously bolstering Baldwin's reputation. According to internal communications cited in the complaint, these efforts began to yield tangible results almost immediately. On August 10th, just one day after the film's release, Lively's team started noticing a shift in online discourse, which they largely attributed to the efforts of Jed Wallace and his associates. Among the evidence presented is a text message from Jennifer Abel, a key figure in the case, which stated, "Hey team, so far, very little traction on Daily Mail or Page 6. We'll continue monitoring and pushing coverage as needed, but for now, it's been relatively stable with mostly speculation." She then added that they had begun noticing a shift in social media sentiment, crediting Wallace and his team for steering the narrative against Blake and Ryan. Later that same day, another message from a member of Baldwin's camp noted that most of social media is overwhelmingly in favor of Justin right now, and I don't even disagree with half of them, lol. The complaint goes on to cite additional references to Wallace's involvement, including an exchange from August 9, 2024, in which Jennifer Abel allegedly told Melissa Nathan, "We're crushing it on Reddit." The lawsuit highlights how Jed Wallace was allegedly enlisted as an independent contractor operating out of Austin, Texas, to execute social media strategies on behalf of Wayfarer and Baldwin. The complaint suggests that his role was integral to shaping online discourse, seeding content across Reddit and other platforms to fuel attacks against Blake while simultaneously shielding Baldwin from negative press. One particularly striking moment in the complaint references a Baldwin team member sharing a link to a sensationalized, inflammatory article targeting Blake's family, noting that the tide is shifting against Ryan now, FYI. This was consistent with the broader strategy of turning public sentiment against Blake and Ryan. The group had even circulated a controversial TikTok video encouraging Blake to divorce Ryan, describing it as very helpful in driving the intended narrative. With all of this unfolding, it's clear that the legal battle surrounding Blake Lively, Justin Baldwin, and now Jed Wallace is far from over. What started as one lawsuit has snowballed into a tangled web of accusations, counterclaims, and PR warfare, and it doesn't seem like it's slowing down anytime soon. As new details continue to emerge, one thing is certain. This scandal is only getting messier. At this moment, Blake Lively's legal team had previously filed a legal notice in Hays County, Texas. This notice indicated their intent to request court approval for a sworn deposition of Jed Wallace as part of their legal proceedings. However, that request was either withdrawn or dismissed last month, as they ultimately decided not to pursue Wallace's deposition. Despite this, Wallace remains deeply unsettled by the fact that he was named in Lively's complaint. His attorneys argue that Blake Lively should not be shielded by litigation privilege, a legal protection typically preventing defamation claims from statements made during legal proceedings. Jed Wallace's legal team contends that Lively's attorneys went beyond the boundaries of litigation privilege by widely distributing her civil complaint to multiple media outlets, creating a media frenzy that they believe falls outside the protection of legal proceedings. This argument mirrors one made by Justin Baldwin's legal team, asserting that Blake and her legal representatives may have crossed the line by publicly disseminating her civil complaint, turning it into a highly publicized spectacle rather than confining it strictly to legal proceedings. Adding another layer of controversy, on Justin Baldwin's newly launched website, where he shared his revised complaint along with a detailed timeline of relevant events. His legal team claims that metadata from a New York Times article covering Blake's December complaint suggests that the publication began preparing the piece as early as October 31, 2024. This claim is significant because Lively did not officially file her civil complaint until December 21, 2024, implying that the article had been in development weeks before the lawsuit was officially submitted. Baldwin's attorneys argue that this early preparation suggests a coordinated effort between Lively and the New York Times to defame him, challenging the usual protections offered by litigation privilege. They claim that the timeline of the article's development undermines the legal defenses Lively and the New York Times might otherwise rely upon. In response, the New York Times has categorically denied these allegations, stating that the observed metadata was generated by Google software and does not reflect when they received or began processing Lively's complaint. They dismiss these accusations as baseless theories pushed by online conspiracy theorists. ABC News, which also reported on the revised complaint published on Baldwin's website, noted that Baldoni Wayfair's legal filings contain multiple inaccuracies regarding the New York Times. One key example is the false claim that the Times had early access to Lively's complaint before it was officially filed. Baldoni's legal team appears to be building their argument on Internet sleuths' investigations, many of whom have already been discredited. These amateur investigators highlighted that a version of Lively's state complaint, published by the Times, bore a date of December 10th, despite the fact that her complaint was not filed until more than a week later. The Times has explained that this discrepancy was caused by Google's software and has no bearing on when they received or published the document. However, Justin Baldwin's revised complaint cites additional online claims suggesting that web crawling data indicates that the PDF of Lively's civil rights complaint was uploaded to the Times servers even earlier. Specifically, online investigators used search tools to examine the New York Times static document archives, where the complaint was stored and referenced in their article. They argue that web crawler programs, which index online files, recorded that the PDF of Lively's complaint was uploaded as early as December 10, 2024. The revised complaint highlights this claim, with online commentators suggesting that the web crawler data might indicate an earlier version of the document existed, which was later replaced by an identical version, except for a new creation and modification date. This, they argue, suggests an effort by the Times to cover up the fact that they had been working with Lively and her team for weeks before the lawsuit went public. The New York Times, however, has strongly refuted this, stating that Baldwin's legal team is basing its claims on unreliable internet speculation. Meanwhile, this latest lawsuit against Blake Lively, filed by Jed Wallace, seems to be capitalizing on the growing controversy. According to TMZ, Chip Babcock, a partner at Texas-based law firm Jackson Walker LLP and legal representative for Wallace, stated that Blake Lively made false claims to the press through a confidential administrative filing. These allegations include accusations that Wallace and individuals affiliated with Street Relations harassed and retaliated against her, aided and abetted others in such actions, breached contracts with her, and engaged in other misconduct. Wallace, described as a private individual, has never met or spoken to Lively and denies any involvement in an orchestrated smear campaign against her at any time. His decision to file this lawsuit stems from Lively not only naming him in her original Texas lawsuit, but also indicating plans to include him in another upcoming case. Honestly, this situation keeps getting more convoluted, and it's almost unbelievable that yet another lawsuit has emerged. But will this be the final one? Only time will tell. For now, this is where things stand in this rapidly escalating legal drama. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. As this legal drama continues to escalate, it's becoming more evident that the situation involving Blake Lively, Justin Baldwin, and Jed Wallace is far from over. With multiple lawsuits, conflicting narratives, and intense media scrutiny, the story keeps unfolding in unexpected ways. Whether these legal battles will lead to significant consequences remains to be seen, but one thing is certain: this has become one of the most talked about controversies in recent times. What do you think about all these developments? Do you believe any of these lawsuits will have a lasting impact? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you found this breakdown insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the latest scandals and celebrity news. Your support keeps us going, and we'll be back soon with more updates. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.